One of the biggest misunderstandings in personal growth today is the idea of your future self. We're taught to imagine that a better version of ourselves is somewhere out there in the future. A wiser version, a healthier version, a more abundant version. And then we're told that if we visualize enough, focus enough, believe enough, we'll gradually become that person over a period of time. There's nothing wrong with this approach, and for many people, it absolutely works because they believe it can. But it's based on a rather outdated and limited understanding of reality. It's based on the idea that you must experience time as linear, moving in a straight line, that you're here, your future self is over there, and that you must improve over time until you eventually become that person. But once you understand how reality and consciousness actually works, you realize there's no such thing as a future self. There is only this now moment. There is only ever the here and now. The version of you that you've been trying to become doesn't exist somewhere in the future, waiting for you to catch up. It already exists as a potential within the greater field of consciousness. It isn't years away. It isn't months away. It isn't even tomorrow. It simply exists as a different frequency of you that can be experienced right now. You've been conditioned to believe that you must experience the passage of time before it can become your reality. Today, I'm going to show you that the future self doesn't exist in the future. There's no such thing. It's created on the fly, right here and right now. And because of that, it doesn't require a long passage of time for you to become it. Once you fully grasp this understanding, it frees you from one of the greatest illusions that humans buy into. The belief that becoming someone different, someone new, must take a long time. That it requires effort, sacrifice, struggle, hard work, or whatever other string of adjectives you'd like to include. It's a belief that very effectively keeps people trapped in a life of limitation, lack, frustration, and the feeling that the life they want is always somewhere off in the distance, ahead of them, and not available to them right now. I'm going to show you a very simple yet highly effective exercise that dissolves the limiting belief of the illusion of the future, bringing it into the present moment, where it belongs. If the future doesn't exist out there, then where does it exist? The answer is that it exists as a potential. Every possible version of your life already exists as a potential within consciousness. Every relationship, every career, every opportunity, every experience, every version of you that you could ever become. They all exist as different states of energy, different frequency bands, what some call parallel realities or timeline shifting. Think of it like a TV or Roku with limitless channels containing every kind of experience you can imagine. Movies, TV shows, music, documentaries, news, sports, cooking, travel. The choices are limitless. They all exist at the same time, but you're only experiencing one of them because that's the frequency you've chosen to tune into. The way you experience reality works in much the same way. The version of reality you experience is the one you're resonating with, the one you're tuning into. Not because someone decides that's what you deserve, but because that's the frequency you've chosen to experience, whether consciously or unconsciously. This is why changing your life is never about changing the outside world first, because that's not possible. It's not how reality works. The outside world is the reflection of your energy state, not the cause. It's about changing the frequency you're broadcasting, because that determines what you tune into. Most people have this understanding completely backwards. They believe that once their circumstances change, then they'll feel successful, wealthy, happy, worthy, confident. But this only creates a state of waiting, wanting, hoping, wishing, because reality can only reflect back the state of being you're already choosing. That's why your state of being in this moment is so important. Your state of being isn't your emotions. It isn't your positive thinking. It isn't pretending everything will be wonderful when it isn't. Your state of being is who you consistently choose to be. It's the energy you actively choose to bring into every moment. This, and only this, is what creates your reality. If you continue to believe that your current circumstances define who you are, you'll continue to resonate with more experiences that match those exact circumstances. Not because you're trapped there, but because you're continuously confirming, this is my life. This is who I am. I am a victim of these circumstances. They happen to me, and I have no control over them. The simplest and quickest way to change any circumstance in your life is to recognize that it's simply a frequency state that you resonate with. A state you've continued to tune into until it becomes your experience. And if you don't like what you're experiencing, you can always choose a different frequency in any moment. How do you do that? It's incredibly simple. In fact, it's so simple that most people overlook it completely or refuse to accept it could be true. It's like Edgar Allan Poe's The Purloined Letter, where the police searched everywhere for a stolen letter, convinced it had been cleverly hidden in some secret place. But the letter was sitting in plain sight the entire time. The answer wasn't hidden. It was so obvious that everyone overlooked it. To experience something different, you must first stop identifying with who you've been and choose something different. The moment you do that with clarity and intention, you begin becoming someone new. Choose the version of yourself you want, and then become that person. Think like that person. Act like that person. Treat yourself the way that person would treat themselves. The more you tune into that new state of being, the faster you become it. And then the circumstances in your life begin reflecting that new state. You don't deny your existing circumstances. You simply recognize they're transient. They're just a temporary reflection of the old you that's now dissolving. Every moment, you're choosing which version of yourself you reinforce. Not once a year, not once a month, every single now moment. The future isn't actually in the future, it's in the now. Every thought you continue to identify with, every belief you continue to reinforce, every choice you continue to make, every action you continue to take, You're continuously tuning yourself to one frequency while tuning away from an infinite number of others. The key understanding, the paradigm shift, is this: becoming your future self isn't about waiting for time to pass. It's about tuning into a frequency that already exists as a potential and fully embodying that frequency. To bring this understanding home, here is a very simple exercise. Begin to deepen your breath, bringing yourself into a calm, centered state. Close your eyes for just a few moments and allow your body to relax. Bring your attention fully into this present moment. Now, I'd like you to imagine the version of yourself that you'd most like to experience. Not the person with the perfect job, the perfect relationship, or the perfect bank account, but instead focus on who they are. How do they feel that's different from how you feel right now? How do they carry themselves throughout their day differently from how you carry yourself? How would they think differently from how you think? How would they respond to life differently than how you would respond? How do they treat themselves differently than how you treat yourself? How do they make decisions differently than how you make yours? Most importantly, how does it feel to be them? What you're doing in this exercise is you're bringing to light the contrast between who you are now and who that version of you is. Seeing and feeling the contrast is the key, because in becoming aware of it, you begin to see what keeps the two versions, the you now and the you that you'd like to experience, separate. That contrast, that difference, is what we call a frequency state. Now, realize something else. You're not looking at someone who exists somewhere out in your future. You're looking at a person who represents a frequency that already exists within your consciousness. A frequency that can be tuned into, allowing you to experience it here and now. Now, imagine the person you are now beginning to entrain with, that new version of yourself. The contrast dissolving as you become that new version. Feel their confidence, their peace of mind, their strength, their unshakable and powerful presence begin to infuse your entire being. Your old identity begins to collapse under the power of this new frequency state as you welcome your new state of being. And now, maintain this state throughout your day. The more you can live from this new state of being, withdrawing your energy from the old identity, the faster the shift begins to happen. Becoming a future self is no more complicated than this. And with practice, the shift into a new state will begin to happen so fast it will take your breath away. There's actually a term for how quickly people are beginning to experience radical shifts in their lives. It's called the quickening. The time between experiencing one state of being and another is beginning to collapse, almost like the experience of losing time. It's a recognition that in our current state of awakening, we are no longer constrained by time. That's just a belief. And once you're aware of it, you can let it go. Reality is fundamentally holographic. It's continually being projected outward from your consciousness. Every possibility already exists here and now, just a frequency away. The person you've been waiting to become has never been waiting for you somewhere out there in the future. They have always existed as a potential within your consciousness, ready to be experienced the moment you choose to embody that frequency. The process of experiencing change can happen as quickly or as slowly as you choose. To get from point A to point B, you can create a journey that takes years or one that takes moments. It's your choice. The only thing that determines how long it takes to move from one state of being to another is your belief that it has to take time. That's the paradigm shift. Time, as we experience it, is part of this dimension of space-time. It's fundamentally an illusion. Your relationship with it is not fixed. The more you release the belief that transformation must be slow, difficult, and earned through the passage of time, the more quickly your reality begins to reflect that new belief. It's time to awaken to the truth that your experience of change, of time, is flexible. You can slow it down or you can speed it up as you desire. That's one of the symptoms of awakening, the recognition that it's not about escaping the rules of this reality, it's about becoming aware of them and mastering them. My question to the architect: can you please give me your definition of the term future self and how it differs from the current self? And here is the sharing. The future self is not a version of you that exists in a distant time. It is a harmonic projection of a potential. It is not waiting to be realized. It is a resonance that is already encoded within the field of consciousness. It exists as a wave of potential that vibrates at a higher harmonic frequency. It is higher as it always reflects an evolution beyond your current experience. You are the manifestation of your present frequency. This manifestation is the reality you perceive through your present level of consciousness. The future self is the resonance of a different expression of that consciousness. When you embody the frequency of a future self, you collapse the illusion of time and bring that potential into the present moment. The journey of life is a flowing symphony of harmonic resonance. The future is not a timeline. It is a dynamic experience. As you attune to the frequency of a future potential, you experience that potential as a wave of possibility collapsing into manifested form. And with that, we'll bring this to a close. Thank you so much for joining me in this exploration. Questions or comments are always welcome. I read them all. And I've also left a question in the pinned comment for any insights that you'd like to offer. If this sharing resonates and you'd like to hear more, please hit the like button, which helps me know if you're inspired by my teachings. For more insights, tap the notification bell to be notified when new videos are released. Thanks so much for listening and for being part of this beautiful, growing community where we begin dissolving old paradigms of limitation and learn what it really means to master the present moment. Superhuman Made Simple with the Architect.